Hello, strawberry lovers. Wouldn't you like to reap handfuls of sweet, ripe strawberries from plants that you grow in containers in your garden? Well, keep watching and we will show you how easy it is to do this. Thanks for staying and welcome to the Calyx Services Garden. I am Thelma. About a year ago, we did our first video on strawberries, which we called Tips and Insights into Growing Strawberries in the Caribbean. It's been one of our more popular videos so far. It's got more than 6,000 views, for which I want to thank all of you viewers. And if there are a few of you who have not yet seen it, we're going to put a link to it above on the screen so that you can get to it quite easily. Those strawberries were growing at the front of a bed of amaryllis in the front garden. And at the end of the first harvest of the strawberries, we decided to expand the amaryllis. And therefore, we had to remove the strawberries from that bed. About 4 months ago, we got 2 plants of a new, much more productive variety than the first one we had. And we planted them in these rather large pots, the 12-inch pots. And they've done so well, and we recorded their progress. So now I can share with you what to expect when you grow a strawberry plant in a pot, all the way from planting through to harvest. And the first thing I'm going to do is reenact how to plant a baby plant, a small strawberry plant, into a pot. So I've got myself very comfortable. Everything is within reach. And I'm just going to show you the materials that you would typically need when you're repotting first. Very sturdy gloves. Can't be sure what's in the soil. Based on experience, the first 12-inch container was a little large. This container is 10 inches by 7 inches. The other one was 12 inches by 8 inches, so slightly smaller. And the potting mix, we're using here a mixture of equal parts of soil, compost, and the store-bought regular potting mix. So it is free draining, and the compost provides the nutrients. The planting material, as I pointed out, I'm just going to take up this small sucker, which was taken off of one of the plants about 3 weeks ago. And when I take a sucker off of a runner, the roots are not developed at all. They're just the beginning of roots. So I like to place them somewhere protected to develop stronger roots for the transplanting process. So this was stuck in the side of this container about 3 weeks ago, and you see all the lovely roots that have already been formed. The other thing I should point out is that I filled this container almost up to the brim, just a little bit of lip so that the water doesn't immediately overflow. I did that again based on experience, because as you water, the potting mix will shrink, and if it shrinks too far into the pot, then you're going to have your fruit resting directly on the soil. So I'm burying this small plant or sucker, making sure that I don't bury it too deeply. This is called the crown of the sucker, and you really need to keep that above soil level, because that's where all of the new leaves are going to emerge. So buried it, firm the soil. Last step, you water thoroughly, and the first watering, you should always water the entire pot, all of the potting soil, so it settles nicely. As simple as that. Get your suckers, make sure they are sturdy roots, plant them into the container, but make sure that the crown, the growing point, is above soil level. And this you place for the first week or so in a relatively protected area to make sure that there is no transplant shock. Then move it to an area that gets at least 6 hours of direct sunlight per day. You monitor closely to make sure the potting mix doesn't dry out too much. Drying down to a depth of 2 inches or so would suggest that you need to water. So keep it evenly moist but not soggy. In terms of feeding your strawberry plants, the potting mix we're using is sufficiently rich in nutrients to keep the plants adequately supplied, say for the first 4 weeks or so, but keep an eye on them. If they're looking yellow or growing slowly, you may have to start fertilizing a little sooner than 4 weeks. And what I use is a balanced 20-20-20 foliar feed at the rate of 1 tablespoon per gallon every 3 weeks. This is what the plants looked like 5 weeks after planting in the pots. The larger sucker to the right sent out 2 runners quite early, which I removed at 8 weeks. Here is the plant without its runners. I placed the 2 runners in a shady section of a bed for about 3 weeks, where they grew stronger roots while I prepared a suitable container. It also gave me a chance to make 2 applications of BioNeem 5 days apart to control the small caterpillars that were busy chewing these holes in the leaves of the strawberry plant. Here are the young plants 6 weeks after they were removed from their mother plants. They're now fully established and, as you can see, little or no sign of caterpillar damage on the new leaves. And while the plants from the runners were 6 weeks old, the mother plants were 14 weeks old, and they were in the early stages of flowering. The fruits developed rather quickly, and we started reaping by 15 weeks after planting. So I'm just going to speed up the period between 15 and 18 weeks. By the end of 18 weeks, we had done quite a lot of harvesting, as you can see from all of these empty fruiting stalks. And there's still quite a lot of young flowers and young fruits coming, so we expect that the harvesting period would be extended, hopefully for another few weeks. But we'll monitor that and we'll be able to bring that information to you in a subsequent video. And while we seem to be midway through the harvesting of the first set of plants in pots, the plants from the runners, which are in this bin, they've started to produce fruits already. So it appears as if we'll be getting a continuous harvest of strawberries for quite a few more weeks to come. Let me end this section with a few tips, and I think I could summarize most of what you just saw in about 7 tips. And the first one is the best time to plant strawberries. Plant your strawberries at the start of the cooler month period, and for that we're looking at between, say, September and November. Now, we do that so that the strawberries will have enough warmth to grow, to proceed through their vegetative stage, and of course, during the fruiting stage, they will be enjoying relatively cool temperatures. So these were planted in November last year, and they started bearing these lovely fruits about 11 or 12 weeks after planting. And so we were able to pick our strawberry fruits in the cooler months. It's now March and we're still harvesting them. And the second tip is the container and what goes into it. A container that is approximately 10 inches wide is sufficient. And in terms of the potting mix, make sure you select a potting mix that is free draining and one that is rich in organic matter. Of course, after you've planted it, is to place the containers in a sunny location, at least 6 hours of sunlight per day. Supply the plants with consistent levels of moisture and nutrients. Monitor for pests and diseases and apply controls as necessary. To reduce damage to the fruits, keep a mulch barrier between the fruits and the top of the soil. And the last tip is what we've been waiting for. Once the fruits are mature, allow them to ripen naturally on the plant and pick when they're fully ripe, firm, vibrant color, and juicy. Very good. So that's it for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you found the information useful or informative, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed already, we're asking you please to do so. And until the next video, I am Thelma in the Calyx Services Garden saying thanks for watching, take care, and bye-bye.